guys, and welcome to the Adam and Nart Show. We are going to talk about the voiceover industry today, and Nart and I are voiceover actors, but we have some guests today on the show who are voiceover actors as well. And let's start with Dylan. Dylan, how are you doing, man?
Doing really good. How are you guys?
We're fine. What about you?
Doing really good. Thanks for having me on the show.
Thank you for coming.
I was telling you guys before, this is the first time I've ever been on a podcast.
Yeah.
So I feel like I'm honored to be here. Thanks
That's
for having
great,
me.
man.
You are most welcome, man. Our amazing juggernauts. We have Dylan with us, and we have Relay with us. So it makes us 4 epic voiceover artists.
You know what? Why don't you guys introduce yourselves?
Okay. Yeah.
With your voiceover voice.
Yeah. All right. With the voiceover.
Yeah, with your voiceover voice.
All
That'd
right.
be great.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're coming at you live here from Dubai. My name is Dylan Nicolatopoulos, and I'm proud to say I'm from the great state or country of Texas in the United States. I've been doing voiceovers, not for that long compared to a lot of people I know. I've been doing voiceovers for about 4 or 5 years now. But I used to do journalism and broadcast television and radio, and so... it's been fun. Really enjoyed everything I've done so far in the voiceover industry. But you guys call me a professional. I don't know if I would call myself a professional. I feel like every time I do a session, I'm always learning.
He's just being humble.
Do you get paid for it?
Surprisingly, yes.
You're a professional.
Then you are a
Exactly.
professional.
That's a good
Low
point.
standard, but okay.
Yeah,
I
that's
know
a
one
good
when
point.
I hear one, so that's okay. Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
absolutely.
But you do have the announcer voice. Your voice is like the sportscaster, announcer. That's an exciting voice to have.
That's right.
Yeah, that's the dream. One day, I mean, we're here now on a podcast, but the dream is World Cup commentating one day.
Oh, that's
nice.
epic. Yeah, that's a
World
beautiful
Cup.
dream.
interesting.
Yeah, I can imagine that. That's great.
Your
It all
voice
started
literally
here.
fits, to be honest with you. That genre, as what he said, it fits.
Yeah,
He has the range for sure.
yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, though, you've gone right into it, right?
Yeah, exactly. So no, and
really
every
cool.
time I see a mic, I just feel obligated. You're like, that's right, we're live here in Wimbledon.
You
Absolutely.
just do it in the kitchen at home, like for fun.
For me, it's fun. My roommates are like, okay, enough. Yeah,
McDonald's! This World Cup, score big with your McDonald's order and win amazing prizes such as World Cup tickets, a Hyundai car, Invu sunglasses, Vivo mobile phones, and more. Visit the McDonald's app for your chance to win now. Terms and conditions apply.
Cool. My name's Elie Skender. I'm a voice actor as well. I've been doing this for over 20 years, give or take. I'm also an impressionist. I have a wide range of voices. You probably heard my voice in the region here on a bunch of clients like Talabat, your everyday right away.
Oh yeah, that's you.
That's him. That's him. I told you,
Yeah,
man.
that's him.
Especially the ending part where it goes like, order now.
Away. Order now. That was so annoying, man. I love Talabat, but I just get them so much on my phone. Like, order now. I'm like, yeah, I know. I'm going to do it.
Nice.
I also do impressions. I do the voice of Morgan Freeman. I've been doing this for so many years.
Wow.
So there's always ups and downs in the voice.
That's
I
amazing, man.
Can go really, really low, like the Cave of Wonders from Aladdin, and really high like Elmo, and really anything in between. So it's
Wait, really quick, can you
I
just
think-
do,
incredible, man.
Can you do the Batman one? The Where is Harvey Dent?
where is she?
Yeah.
It's right. It's oh my god. It's,
I'm enjoying this.
that's great.
That's it.
Like, I mean, it's a beautiful, fun job to have.
Oh, yeah,
For some,
absolutely.
it's a side hustle. For me, if I can do this, I have a company, but if I can do this full time, that's all I would do.
That's true.
Sit in
That's
front of
true.
a mic, I think
Well,
it's-
basically because you're
for the rest
living
of
off
us
of
as
your
well.
voice, so that's like the most amazing thing.
Yeah.
Just a
Get to
mic.
talk. So they pay you for it.
Exactly.
It's crazy.
It's a great job to have. If you have the skills,
For sure.
it's an amazing job.
I mean, you both do. I've heard both of your voiceovers, and you guys are great. You're getting into it, and you're becoming more and more in tune with yourself, like finding your voice, finding what makes your voice special, and kind of leaning into that. That's what's going to get you to work.
True.
It's not just like you can do impressions. I do impressions for the fun of it, and I do them on some commercials. But there's a specific tone that I've been working on for years, and once you have it, خلاص, that's what you're going to be known for, and that's what you're going to lean into and get more work based off of that.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
epic.
To be a conqueror means never being still. Because movement is exciting. Movement is daring. It's how you reinvent, rediscover, and take control. police on patrol defy ordinary.
Okay, so let's start this off with some questions, guys. So
Hey, it's my turn.
you need to. Okay, go ahead. Fine. Oh yeah, I haven't even introduced myself
Yeah, okay.
properly. So you go
did.
ahead first.
I think you did, yeah?
No, I haven't even talked about myself.
Okay, you go.
Okay, so my name is Adam Lash. I'm also a professional voiceover artist, and I have been doing this for about 4 years now. Yeah, and I think I'm a good actor, a voiceover actor so far.
This Eid, we've got legendary, bold Texas flavors. We don't mind if you call us big chickens. Try our blazing new flavors because we never chicken out on spicy. Texas quality guaranteed, always. Order now.
Epic.
Go ahead, Nart. Your turn.
I'm his brother. My name is Nart Lash, and I've been doing this for 8 years. And I started, I think, with the Mercedes commercial. That's like, I think, my first commercial. And then I got my brother into it.
Right.
In the modern world, human life is constantly in danger. At any given moment, the threat can become critical. A team of highly qualified engineers together with military specialists create reliable equipment. Our priority is your safety.
Okay, so let's start off with a few questions, guys. So how did each of you get started in the voiceover industry? What do you think, Dylan?
For me, it was really funny. So I used to be a flight attendant for Emirates Airlines.
Really? You were
Yeah.
a flight attendant?
Yeah, I was a flight
Cool.
attendant, and I did that for 5 years and loved it.
Okay.
But being, with a background in journalism and broadcast, I was always trying to keep ties with that because I knew I wanted to come back to the industry. So every time I got on board, I always requested to do the announcements.
Epic.
And normally it was like the head purser, the flight person who was in charge of everyone was doing it. But I would always request, and most of the time they saw I was a language speaker and they gave it to me. And so I'd always get on board, and everyone was always like, "Oh my god! Is this an announcement? This is different, So, but the purser heard it one time, the flight manager, and he's like, "Man, I do voiceover work. I think you'd be great at it. You should give it a shot." And I was like, "Yeah, maybe."
Yeah.
People had always told me I had the voice for stuff, but he got me in touch with one of the studios here in Dubai, and they called me one day out of the blue. I went in. I think Talabat might have been, or Deliveroo was one of my first commercials I ever did.
Oh, okay.
Cool. And yeah, it was so I remember it. It was so funny because I didn't know that you could get paid for it. For me, it was just one of those things I just do for fun. And we come up afterwards and they say, "Okay, well, here's the document, write how much you charge." And I was just like, what? Oh yeah, I get paid for this, So for me, it was like this blissful moment of somebody recognized it in me, had the connection, and gave me the recommendation to go. And then I was doing what I loved, and I got paid for it. So for me,
So they got you through the voice announcer thing that you did for the plane, yeah?
For the plane,
Emirates?
yeah.
Oh, okay, that's
Yeah.
epic. And then from there, it just started.
yeah. So and then I kind of got called maybe once a month or so to come back into the studio to do more commercials, and it was like, wow, okay, this is actually an industry I'd never considered before. So it was good. Yeah.
Epic.
Here with
What
you guys
about
now.
you, LA?
Definitely. Look, I discovered that I can do voices around a very early age. I was around 8 years old, give or take. I went and I saw one of my neighbors who was a very old lady who used to smoke a lot.
Oh, okay.
And she was compressed, like she was compressed into a raisin. It's crazy.
Okay.
And this voice came out of her, thundering voice. She's like, "Lulu." And I was like, what the hell is that? So
Imagine out of a lady.
I went back home and I told my mom, and I was like, "Lulu." And she was like, "What? You can do that?" So I discovered that in me, but I've never really used it up until I was around 16 years old. I heard a radio announcer, a famous radio announcer, I was telling outside of the show, who used to do all of the commercials for radio stations in Lebanon, back in my home country. He would be like, "Mix FM, this is the radio station. It's that voice. It's that go-to voice." And I discovered that this is actually a guy called Dave Fox, who's in the US, who does like major stations there. He's one of the top guys. So I did an impression of him and I sent it across. And his response was like, "You've got the pipes. You should get into it." By the same time, next year, I was doing 2 radio stations for universities in the US. that were kind of spreading around and getting me into it. And it was just, I got enough demos, started sending them off to studios, and I was in.
Wow,
I was doing
that's epic.
voiceovers.
That's nice.
It's really, man, it's beautiful industry.
It is one of those things I feel like I don't know. For me, when you're growing up, you don't think I'm going to be a voiceover artist, right? And you stumble upon one person or a voice that you hear.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Did you ever think you would be like as a voiceover artist?
I've always been in my mind. I was a comic, and I always wanted to be a comic. I always wanted to be one of those guys who gets up and does stand up. And I did stand up for 9 years. I did Comedy Central. I've done a bunch of shows. But never thought in my life that I would be a voice actor up until that.
Same, but it's cool, right? You're just
amazing.
like, I'm doing this.
Yes, but the thing is, in
Absolutely,
order
yeah.
to be a comic, one way or another, you have to use your voice. So you already have it.
Yeah, you have to have
Yes, exactly.
a way to your words, how to do timing, all of these things. You learn them on the spot, like cold reads. Nowadays, you can do that on a voiceover. You get a VO script, and you're able to do it from the first time without reading it. And
Right.
as a cold read, that's something that you get with the experience, with time, and it comes naturally to you. Same for a stand-up. For
Exactly,
timing and-
exactly, yes.
Absolutely. Which brings me to the second question, guys. What do you think are the qualities that are needed for a professional voiceover artist? So, what does it take to become a professional voiceover artist?
Have a good voice.
Have a good voice. That's number one.
That's by default. That is one.
Yeah.
So from experience, I would say it's having a good voice, having a clear understanding of what clients want,
Yeah.
how an identity is different from identities are different from one another, and that comes through with your intonation, with your pitch shifts, with all of these things, with your timing.
Which we're going to discuss these technical
Yeah.
terms, right?
But it all comes down in the beginning to get started. It comes down to having a good voice and you're well spoken. You're when people can understand you, and just practice. That's it. It's not very. It's
Right.
not crazy. Later on, you'll be able to put yourself out there, go to studios, and record stuff for free. Get started. Go.
That's
into
important.
It.
Putting yourself out there that's a very important thing. Some people feel shy, they're embarrassed. They just give up. That's important to put yourself out there.
Especially that nowadays it is not difficult. It is extremely easy to put yourself out there through social media and stuff.
Yeah,
So to
that's
say
true.
that, I didn't have the chance, I didn't get like the spotlight to be out in the show and stuff, that's just an excuse.
Yeah.
You
What
just do
about
your
you?
thing and you just upload it immediately.
Right. What about you, Dylan? What do you think?
So I think kind of like learning languages, you need to be a really good listener as well. Most of the time, I think people think about voiceover artists as we're always speaking, but just like when you're learning something new, you have to be able to listen well. And specifically for voiceover artists, this is important because you mentioned timing and pitch and all these things we're going to talk about
Yes.
later on.
Right.
If you can't recognize that in the first place, it's going to be really hard for you to replicate that when you're
100%.
speaking. Right?
Exactly, yes.
And I'll be honest, I didn't get a lot of formal training on this, but if you're good at copying people,
Exactly. I was about to say you have to be able to copy what you heard, what
Right.
you listened to.
Yeah.
it's almost like
Yeah.
the parrot effect, right? Like
Yeah.
if you can parrot other people, you can just repeat what other people do.
And
right?
this happens through observant learning. You get
Yeah.
to see, you interpret, and then you just, apply it.
yeah.
Makes
That's
it easier
true.
for you to get started. So in the beginning, you don't have a personality yet. You don't have your own voice tone yet. So
Yeah.
you just copy what you hear. He has a very good point. And this is the same for comedy, because when you see new comedians go up on stage, you'll notice that, this guy is speaking like Bill Cosby or speaking like whatever, Louis C.K. or whoever, because they have that pattern in them. They have the timing. They have you know who their influence is.
Yeah.
It's the same with voice actors on a certain level. It's even smaller, much, much smaller, but it's 100%, I would agree.
Yeah,
That's true.
But also, I wanted to follow up on that point of like the consistency, and you got to be okay knowing that you're not going to get every single job.
That is so
Because-
true.
for sure.
That is so true.
Yeah.
I feel like so many people get discouraged because you get online and then without even applying, you see that there's 2,000 other people just like you who also have an amazing voice, and you're like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm not unique all of a sudden, right?
That's right.
But I don't know. I feel like you can copy whoever you want, but you also just got to be okay being you and realizing like, look, there's thousands of clients out there, there's thousands of talents out there, and you're gonna get something eventually, but you gotta just stay on it.
Yeah, it makes sense.
That's true. I'd like to add to that too. I think from my point of view, you have to have an excellent command of the language. And it's not just the English language, whatever language that voiceover is going to be in, you have to have an excellent command of that language. So you have to know proper grammar, and you have to understand how to speak, how to enunciate, how to articulate well. And your voice has to be clear and it has to be understandable. This is what I believe is the case. What do you guys think?
Of course, it's your cadence. It's all of these things that make a huge difference in when you're pronouncing certain words. That's why I was talking about cold reads.
Yes.
Because if you have that as part of, if you know how to write or you know how to listen, you'll be able to do that. You'll pull up a script and you'll do a cold read and you'll nail it on the spot.
Right.
But up until you get to that point,
it takes practice.
Understand the words, understand the language, understand how certain words are being said.
Yeah.
At some point, I used to do a bunch of these voiceovers for medical type dealies.
Oh, okay.
Like Augmentin. And the ingredients that are in Augmentin.
The medicine, the antibiotic.
Medical ingredients.
Medicine.
Oh, man.
So reading the ingredients by itself was a science.
It was a nightmare.
Okay.
Like, how are these letters together? How does that work?
But
Right.
Also, I feel like in this region of the world, in the Middle East, when you are really good at grammar, the client really
Appreciates it.
really appreciates it, right?
Yeah,
Because
absolutely, yeah.
There's been some scripts that I've read, and I'm like,
fixed it up for them.
Yeah, exactly. And you're like, actually, guys, it doesn't quite make sense if you're gonna need to switch the verb, around.
Absolutely.
We
By the way,
have
this is
had
what I
lots of
do.
commercials like
Right,
this.
right.
You
Yes, yes.
proofread and you
Yeah.
fix it, and they get
Yeah.
so happy.
Yeah, and so like exactly what you said.
Absolutely.
You got to know the grammar. You got to know what doesn't sound right or actually what isn't correct in the first place.
I'm a copywriter as well, so when I look at the script, I first check if everything's okay, and if I find any mistakes, and believe me, you can find a lot of mistakes that they're not aware of, they're oblivious to. You tell them, and then they start wondering, "Oh, is this right? Is this not right?"
But you have to go with, you have to tell them, I'm a copywriter, and this is why.
That's what I do. Yeah, exactly.
Because otherwise they're going to be like, yeah, we have a copywriter who's already done
They
this.
always do, by the way. They always have a copywriter.
I just say,
Yeah.
I'm from Texas. This is how we
That's
do
your
it there.
excuse, yeah.
Yes.
You just make it official.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
That's how W would say it.
that is true. Okay, so let's move on to the next question, guys. Could you share a memorable experience or project from your career? What do you guys think?
You surprised me with your Arabic accent.
Yeah.
He surprised me, man. He caught me off guard. We were in my office. We were talking.
Yes,
And then
exactly.
he all of a sudden just broke into Arabic. I was like, what the? Like, he's full on Emirati Arabic. It's crazy. Like,
It's
how,
because we were born and raised here, so I had to adapt and pick up the
Can you do
language.
one on the
and
mic? Can you-
Oh yeah, definitely. What was the?
Do it.
If I'm gonna do the airport announcement that I was about to be chosen for the Fly Emirates thing, and then they chose a British lady instead of me to be the voice for Fly Emirates.
Okay.
So I did for the hospital, and it goes something like this: يرجى من صاحب السيارة رقم اللوحة 2823 الرمز H التوجه إلى قسم الاستقبال شكرا.
Nice.
Yes.
This
Don't
is
know what he's
Arabic.
saying. Sounds great though, right?
You can
Caught me
tell.
off guard. I
You
speak
could
Arabic.
tell.
I'm a native Arabic speaker.
Yeah.
I'm Lebanese. And I was caught off guard. I was like, what the?
Nice.
Yeah, so when I did this,
Yeah.
that's another story. I wish I could say it, but you guys go ahead and I'll tell you about the story of the announcement. It was basically an emergency that happened in the hospital. And on a side note, the security guard came in and they made the announcement, but it was wrong. And he mispronounced the name of the car. So everything was just like, it went south immediately. And it was a doctor who parked her car in the ambulance area. And the cops came, and there was like an emergency situation where they needed to get the ambulance in. So they needed someone to remove the car, and basically she didn't understand this. So when I made the announcement, and I did this, so I saved it on my phone, and then I applied it for Fly Emirates.
There you go.
That's cool, man. That's cool. What about you, Dylan?
All right, so I think one of the best ones I ever got to do was for Coca-Cola, and it was for the World Cup. And so
Nice.
my background is in broadcast journalism, and I'm eventually, I know I'm going to be commentating the World Cup one day, and so voiceover has always just been this kind of side thing for me. But I got called in, didn't know who the client was. Oftentimes you don't get the script until you show up to the studio,
Yeah.
right?
True.
And so
That's true, yeah.
they give you the script and they say this is Coca-Cola, and so automatically you're just like, okay, all right, yeah, yes, I'm here, okay. And what they wanted was a sports commentator, and I was like, yes, like you got the right guy, right?
You're getting there.
Yeah. And so I got to do, they had the script where they basically wanted me to scream goal and then kind of announce as if, they're about to take a bite or whatever. I was the commentator while people were watching the television enjoying a Coca-Cola. And for me, it was just when I got to do it, I just kind of had this moment where I was like, I've made it.
The team's all here. Expect a lot of action tonight. Some great moves there. And he takes it. This is the moment. Brilliant move. It's a taste of everything we love. What a celebration.
Because one of my favorite sports commentators back home in the US also does commercials, and he did a Coca-Cola commercial. So they went from him broadcasting to the game to break where he was on commercial as the voiceover artist, right? And then back to him. And I was like, okay, this is like one of the pieces, right? Now I just need to get the game, and like, I've made it.
Who's the announcer, if you don't mind me asking?
So there's a couple of different guys that I like. One of them is on Fox. His name escapes me right now. You caught me off guard. Okay.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Once you remember it, you will know it. It's okay.
Yeah, once it comes back to you,
we'll come back. Yeah. Gus
okay.
Johnson. Gus Johnson. Okay.
Cool.
Gus Johnson, great guy. He's really funny as well. He's been in it for a long time. So anyway, like to get Coca-Cola was great. But whenever we were doing the actual voiceover, the session, they really liked what I did, but they were like, can you just do some freestyle for us? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. And so I just went on for, 30 seconds, just making up a game in my head, Ronaldo now to Rooney on the left side, out of this back of the net, we got it, and I was in the zone, and I was just like, okay, once again, I can't believe I'm getting paid to do this, type of thing.
Yeah.
But that one was my favorite one just because I know it's always been a dream of mine, and I feel like I got the dream.
You reminded me of something. You remember this actress that plays? You've all watched Harry Potter, right?
Yeah, the movie. Okay.
Helena Bonham Carter. I think that's the name. Who plays? Wasn't the name of the
Which
character?
one? The old lady.
Yeah, yeah, no, that annoying lady, that evil lady. Yeah.
Lestrange.
Yes, Lestrange. That's right.
I need to see her to recognize her.
She had an interview once, and she said that, can you believe this? I do this for a living, and I get paid for it. What more can you ask for?
First of all, can I just say that I have fun and I love it, and it's my privilege to keep on working in this oversubscribed profession. And there are so many talented people out there who never get recognition. So I'm incredibly lucky to get this and to get recognized and to get parts and to go out and make a living by getting dressed up and pretending to be somebody else for the day, and then getting paid lots of money.
Like, you do something for fun, and you get paid for it, and you get paid a lot for that. I'll never forget that. Then I thought maybe one day I wish I could be that. Do something that I do for fun and get paid for it at the same time, so it doesn't feel like work.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and like kind of like that. If you've seen Star Wars as well, anytime you watch the actors give like interviews outside, they always talk about this moment where they're on set, and all of a sudden they just kind of look and they're like, I'm on Star Wars.
I'm on Star Wars.
And for you, like to hear, like Harrison Ford say that, right? Someone who we all respect, but for him to just be like,
and he's already famous,
right?
He already made it.
Yeah, like that moment of joy is so important. I feel like if you have it in the work you do, because it makes what you do not work, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, there was a saying that would go, do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life.
That's absolutely true.
Exactly.
I believe in that.
Fun fact about Star Wars, the voice of Darth Vader, James Earl Jones, got paid so little for the voiceover.
Wow.
Yeah.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
I love this voice. But they couldn't get the guy who was playing the actual Darth Vader was not getting it. The voice was so weak compared to the character.
Oh, okay.
So they hired James Earl Jones to do the voice.
They had to add a voice.
I had no idea, man.
They paid him like $500 for the voice, and he was the most iconic voice in history.
Oh my
Wow, that's unfortunate, man.
Know your worth, yeah.
No, because I think they just like picked someone out of the blue, and he didn't have like any prior work before this, so that's the reason why it was.
He used to do the Sesame Street 1, 2, 3. He was very
okay.
Sesame Street.
You see, you should look it up. It's amazing to see him. He was young and he's like looking at the camera and saying 1, 2.
No, the most beautiful thing.
Powerful voice.
The most beautiful thing is that he pulled off Elmo's voice, and that's a complete different voice genre from his voice.
Yeah.
You?
Yeah, he just did it at the beginning.
Wow, that's amazing, man.
Elmo's world.
Oh my gosh, I've been heard that forever.
Yeah, for me, I think the most interesting job I've ever done was, I did 7 ads in a row, and I had there were 2 voiceover actors, one, me and a lady. She was supposed to be my wife, and I thought it was the funniest voiceover job I ever had because she was supposed to be a nagging wife.
Oh, okay.
And, things like, did you do the laundry? Did you take out the trash? Yes, and I answer, that way. I'm getting fed up,
Okay.
So she kept saying that. So that was the best part I think that was the most interesting voiceover I've ever done. It was funny because I was looking at her and I'm like, you have to be my wife for half an hour. And then I'm like, I'm sorry, but you're so annoying. And she's like, oh my God, the best part is I can't stand that myself. If I were a man, I can't stand that myself.
You didn't need to act during
Yeah, I didn't have to act.
acting
It was really annoying. But the reason, guys, I said that it's very important to have an excellent command of the language is because sometimes voiceover actors can make mistakes. Even I did. I made a mistake the other day with that specific ad. So the guy was saying, the script was saying something about the, I'm going to say it right this time, the iron. Did you know a lot of people don't know this? They say iron. And it's wrong.
Oh yeah.
Iron. That's
It's
true.
wrong. So the first time I said it, actually, it wasn't even my line. It was her line. She said iron, and then the guy who was a British guy, he was the marketing manager, I believe, or something like that. He caught that. He said, "That's not the way you're supposed to say it. You're supposed to say iron." And then she's like, no, everybody was like, no. And then I joined along like, no, iron is right because you say irony. You don't even know that it's iron. It's literally iron. It's not iron. And a lot of people say iron. They don't know.
Yeah, true.
So then the poor guy started doubting himself, like, no. But it's like, then everybody's like, no, it's iron. It's iron. It's not iron. And then he just let it go. And then when I went home, I had to look it up. I'm like, wait a minute, something does not sound right. The guy was so sure about that. I looked it up in the dictionary and it's iron. Then I called the studio and I'm like, guys, this is wrong.
Of course,
the poor guy was right. And I think we should do it again.
Even sometimes native speakers can get it wrong, but other people
even
can
native
get it right.
speakers
Yeah.
sometimes can say the wrong thing. Even native speakers, by the way. So I told them, let's do it again. And they said, nah, just let it go. The strange thing is,
I'm gonna look out for that.
I was gonna say we're gonna go look up with that after this.
she's the one that said that. But anyway, the point is, we should have done it again. But they just said,
But they're
just
not
let
gonna, because they're gonna have to pay her again to come in. They're gonna have to
No,
book
it's
the
not about
studios
that.
again.
It's not about that. She agreed as well. Like, we got to do it professionally. So that's the reason I think it's one of the most important
Yeah,
things.
but he has a point. The thing is, if they call you and you want to do it, even if it was a mistake, they still get to pay you again.
In these
unless
cases-
if they agree.
No, but come
both-
on, that's
both of the
your
parties.
that's your fault.
Yeah, but
you
if
did
they
not
agree to
you
sell
did
it-
not read the word properly.
Correctly, yeah.
You
Exactly.
did not
But in these
say it
cases, if
right.
there's doubt, what you usually do is you do 2 versions of that.
Yeah.
And they just keep one on the side. It's iron and iron. Try it both
Right.
ways. Keep one on the side. This is what I usually do when there's like a debate on how to pronounce a certain word.
Right.
Because they do that. They keep doing that. And we go into YouTube as a reference.
Right.
And it's 2 different pronunciations of the same word. They're like,
Yeah.
like, which one is right? This one has more views, so maybe this one's right.
I'll tell you another story. I lost a job, unfortunately, because of the way I was saying a word. Even though I did my homework, that's the crazy part. I did my homework. I looked it up, and I'm like, okay, I got to say this right. I don't want to make any mistakes. It was called La Liga. Have you ever heard of the La Liga League?
La Liga.
Oh, for football.
I said that, exactly. I said La Liga in the beginning, and then I'm like, I heard it the first time. I tried to emulate what I heard, but then they kept telling me which brings us to the next topic, guys. I think you have to be able to understand what the client wants. They kept telling me over and over again, Adam, repeat, it's not La Liga. It's not La Liga. It's what was it? La Liga. La Liga. La Liga.
Yeah.
It's not an English name. It's hard to pronounce.
Yeah,
but
you have
even
to know how
so,
to say the client's name.
you have to say it
brand.
right. You have to say it right.
Yeah.
And even though I did my homework, I still managed to mess it up. So
That was a big commercial. I remember
even though
this.
they really liked my voice,
That was for the World Cup.
that was for the World Cup.
Yeah.
And then I heard it. The next day I heard it on YouTube for the World. I'm like, oh man, that was my job. I lost it.
And then
because of the word La Liga, I couldn't even say it right. So it's important to know how to say the words right, especially if they're foreign words.
I was telling Dylan right before we sat down.
Yeah.
I had a voiceover job which was one of the dreams come true kind of situation where Discovery Channel called me and they're like, we want you to dub Morgan Freeman in Arabic.
Wow.
And do
Yeah.
the whole season of Through the Wormhole in Arabic, which is insane. And I had to sit for 7 hours a day for 7 days.
Wow.
That's beautiful.
That's
Not
what you
even-
call dedication.
And you would not do a break. You'd not have a break because I can't have lunch and just end up with a reflux or whatever and ruin the rest of the day. So I would end up not eating, just living off of espresso coming in and out of the studio, water in and out of the studio.
Yeah.
Just break to go to the bathroom and come back and just
The thing is,
voiceover.
even with coffee, I find it very hard for me to go back to and do like a VO. It glues your mouth for some reason.
If you're doing it throughout the day, try not to eat before that. Try not to drink
True.
before
That
that.
is so true.
Hydrate just with water. If you're gonna drink something, drink a little bit of tea. There's a trick that we used to do with butter. Bit of butter.
tea with butter.
Tea.
I know tea with mint helps.
That's
Mint,
nice.
I would not risk.
I
the
didn't know
perfume.
about butter.
Oh, okay.
Mint, yeah.
Yeah.
Just yellow leaf tea with butter.
Nice.
Perfect for like I learned that from my cousins in the family because they're actual singers, professional singers.
Wow.
So they
With
would
butter.
help out and
Wow.
don't eat any spices, any tomato, any chocolate. All of these would just
Oh yeah.
A funny story
That
about
is
what
so
not
true.
to eat. I was I did work as a sports commentator for a little bit before, and sometimes when we would go to the events, they would have like a room with free food for the talent or whatever. So
Yeah.
at like
Like chocolate
halftime.
sweets on the table and stuff.
Yeah, so like at halftime, I was like, I was still in university, so I was like, yo, free food, let's go. So I was, in between the games, I went and I got a bunch of nuts, like peanuts. And I found out that was like one of the worst
things
things
ever.
ever.
That's gonna
Really?
Yeah. Your
Peanuts
voice.
are not
Yeah.
good. I had no idea.
Because
Causes suffocation.
Wow.
Even if you're not allergic to it.
Right, but they're like the little bits
and pieces will
always
get-
kind of
they
get
get
stuck.
stuck.
For
Yeah.
me, I don't know if it's just me specifically, right? But for me, that was like one of the worst like second halves of football ever. I was just like,
That's so.
And the thing
Yeah.
is, if you have it, because I tried it too, if you have it, you will always clear it.
Yeah, clear.
all the time.
Yeah. You gotta
So it
clear
gets
it.
to be annoying. You can't do this.
That is
Yeah.
true.
Yeah. So actually, one of the things about being a professional is actually the small things like that of knowing. Like you think I can drink whatever I want, I can have whatever I want.
No.
Even cold water is not good for you. It needs to be
That's
room
true.
temp, lukewarm before you record. That's kind of like the optimal voice to have. And I always try to
Right.
book the most difficult sessions in the morning, like the ones that are demanding. Right after you're awake, you're getting ready to start the day, and your voice is at its most powerful, its best, its clearest, and
Deepest.
words just flow better, and it's deeper in the morning. It's crazy. Yeah.
that is
This
true.
water is room temperature, by the way. They did a great job with this.
Great job, guys. By the way,
It's ice cold.
do you have any kind of like secret things that you can do to get ready? Like, for example, some people say that you can do this exercise, ding dong, king kong. A lot of presenters do that, to warm up their vocal cords. Do you do any kind of things like that, exercises?
Yeah, I used to not, but then I was talking with another performer, like a singer, and she talked about you should really take time to warm up your voice, and that idea had never really occurred to me just because I was still new and everything.
Yeah.
And so one time I was running late to a session. I was driving to the studio, and I realized I'd just woken up like 30 minutes before, and I was still kind of groggy, and I was like, I can't do it like this, And
The guy is rocking the Batman's voice.
yeah. And but something came to mind where I actually remember there was this TED Talk that I saw, and it was about public speaking. And they said, just like if you give a public speech, you need to warm up your voice. And so there was always they got the audience involved for it too, and it's very memorable. And you look like a complete idiot doing this, you know, but you kind of just go through all the letters of the alphabet and sounds, and you know, ba 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 ba, wee, and you literally just try to extend the entire vocal cord range so that you can warm up your voice, because just like an instrument. You can't play it cold, right? And
That's true.
Yeah.
True.
I'll let you in on a little secret. I do this exercise that I told you about, but in secret. I don't let others see it.
Yeah, if you want to do it like
So
in front of
just
people,
before
it's a
a
little bit
job, I
embarrassing.
just do it in the car, you know, so I can warm up my voice.
Yeah.
That's
try to do that. Also, I personally, because I have a deep voice, I tend to warm up the gravel, which is this.
yeah. Nah.
Go down, go up. Try to warm that part up so
Right.
that I can control it. Go up, down, left, right. You know.
Yeah.
Try to do that, and also to not kind of trip over words. What I do is. No joke.
Yeah. That's
I
a
do
good
that.
one. Yeah.
All the time, just
Yes,
go crazy, just all
Yeah.
of them together.
Just so you can
And
warm
it
up.
loosens you up, and try to open
Yes.
your mouth wide.
That's true.
It's
That is-
important to
that is the
loosen
trick,
up.
by
That's
the way.
important to loosen
To
up.
open your yes.
Which reminds me, guys, of course, you know the concept of vocal fry. Vocal fry is a big problem. Yes, you know, you hear a lot of people like, you know, for
Kim
example,
Kardashian's voice.
the Kardashians.
Yeah, I had a client say, "Can you tone down the vocal fry?" I was like, "You mean gravel? I don't have vocal fry. I have gravel. That's my voice."
I got a 0% when my brother tested my voice with a vocal fry. Because me,
Yeah.
like, and LA, we don't have vocal
There's an
fry.
app for that, by the way.
Yeah.
There's an app that analyzes
And
your
I was surprised
voice
myself.
and tells you if you have vocal fry or not. So, guys, what do you think about vocal fry? It's annoying. Nobody likes. Some people think that it's nice and sexy, and I don't think so.
I don't find it
It's
sexy,
annoying
no.
as hell. And if you have vocal fry and you're a voiceover artist, I think it's a disaster. So, what do you think? How could you reduce your vocal fry if you have any?
Like, I want to go back to the whole idea of clients and what they want. And
Right.
truthfully, this is what I think. You got to be unique in who you are and just be okay with who you are. Because some clients may love that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Truthfully, you may
Depends on the
show up.
character that
Depends
you're
on the
playing,
character,
whatever
yeah.
you're
Yeah,
trying to
sometimes
get to.
you get asked for this type of stuff.
Right.
I've never been asked for it. Truthfully, I don't like it.
Yeah.
But
A lot of people don't.
yeah, but it's one of those things I feel like warm up before, and then also just know pitch and tone and be a good listener as well.
True.
Because if you know that the client doesn't want it, or maybe they mention
You can
it
control
before.
it, man. You can control
Yeah,
it.
you can control
How can
it.
you reduce it, guys?
I think they do it on purpose. In my from what I've heard and what I've seen, is that they do it mostly on purpose, and then it becomes kind of a habit.
Second
So
nature.
they're like,
yeah. Okay.
I want to talk like that.
Right.
It's like,
Right.
no.
Right.
You can't. That's not how a person talks.
want you to tell me what to do.
Do you think, wait, guys?
from
Do
your
you,
diaphragm,
do you
speak
think
from here.
shouting? Do you think shouting can contribute to this as well? Like if you speak in a loud voice, do you
Not
think?
just shouting. It's kind of like projection.
Right.
What you do, like in the olden days, and nowadays even on Broadway, they don't use microphones. An
Yeah.
actor projects.
Yeah.
It goes from here,
Deep,
goes
like,
up,
deep inside.
and it pushes out. It's a very loud sound that comes out of it.
Diaphragm. Yeah.
And that, if you do that in a closed, small room, you'll hear it resonate all over the walls.
Yeah.
You can hear that. If you're hitting that vibration, that means you're actually pushing your voice out. You're not just talking, you're getting it out there. So that helps, because
That
that
helps.
would help with your delivery overall.
Speaking of which, let's talk a little bit about the technical terms, guys. So let's talk about reverb. I think reverb is a big problem if you have a studio, if you have your own home studio. That's the biggest problem that anybody can face. What can you guys tell us about reverb, and how can you reduce it with acoustics?
I got this. I know what this word means. I don't know what all the words mean, but I know what this one means. I got
cool.
this.
The
worst. Yeah. It's the worst.
Most
yeah.
important.
So reverb, in case you guys don't know, reverb is reverberate, which
Yes.
means sound waves when they go out, sometimes they bounce off of things and then come back, right?
Yeah.
And so it's literally reverberating. So you'll get this first sound wave that'll go out, and then maybe it'll hit the wall and come back in. So it's almost like an echo,
Yes.
right? So you mentioned it's a big problem in home studios
Yes.
because if you're at home, oftentimes you have just solid walls around you, and the sound waves bounce all over the place.
Right.
I have this problem at my home. I don't have a professional voiceover setup,
Or a
but-
booth.
A booth, right?
Yeah.
I don't have this enclosed, soundproof area. But what I do is I bought floor to ceiling curtains.
That helps a lot.
That
Curtains help
helps
a
a
lot.
lot.
Yeah.
Curtains. So
Curtains
if you,
are amazing.
There's a reason why they have curtains in the cinema, in the theater.
Yeah.
Do you notice like there are curtains?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It
Yes.
dampens the sound. of it.
Dampens, yes.
Yeah.
yes.
My setup at home is at a desk like this. And I used to have my microphone all the way up against the wall, but I realized that was kind of like really close to right where it was bouncing back.
Yeah.
So now I brought it towards me and I put just pillows in the
Pillows,
background.
pillows
Pillows
also
can help.
helps.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
they help a lot.
And then also there was one time it was really bad. I had a really bad reverb all around. The client noticed it, and so I was like, okay, all right, we'll do something. So I just put a blanket over me.
True.
That's the trick.
Yeah.
That's one of the main tricks.
A blanket.
Yes,
Just put
a blanket.
If you don't have a setup, if you don't have a studio setup,
Guys, we're giving you now secrets. If you have a home studio and you want to sound professional, you don't want to have reverb. So these are some of the secrets, okay, from
yeah,
the
you
industry.
put pillows on the side.
Right.
If you can put a pillow on top, that would be great because you
Right.
can kind of box it in, and don't box it in like that,
Yeah.
because that's going to create a boxy cave kind of sound.
Right.
So you open up your pillows like that, and you put something here. And the secret is not just this: you put something on the floor
Right.
and behind you, because that's where the voice is going to escape and bounce off
Right. Right.
everywhere. And once you have
The
a
blanket,
blanket
on top.
on top of you, you're pretty much set.
boom.
But don't be like that.
Guys, I
so
have one
that's gonna
for you.
sound like
I have
this.
one for you. It's amazing. It's excellent. It's almost as if you have a professional studio or a booth.
What is it?
The closet.
The closet?
Closet can work,
That's what I use.
but for me, what works the best is if you go inside your car,
The car's
you
good.
close the doors.
yeah.
That's epic.
Perfect.
Car's good, but
Yeah.
there's the
Yeah.
glass, and you have to be careful how you position your microphone because of the window.
Yeah,
'cause
that's
of the-
right. That's right. Yeah,
your
you
front-
have to be careful
yeah.
how you position the
'Cause
microphone.
It's going to bounce off of it. Just
Yeah.
depends on how you. It's positioned the same way that glass is positioned in studios. If you go into a recording booth,
Right.
it's never straight.
Yeah,
It's always askew. It's always
that's
like
true.
that.
Yeah, it has to be a little bit
So
askew.
it
Yes,
bounces down.
Yeah.
It doesn't
Right.
bounce
True.
up or straight or comes back to you.
that's right.
But that's perfect. You mentioned the car is because tell them the story you were saying about how you did a commercial. It was supposed to be like a test read, and then you were in your car and you did it, and,
Exactly.
and they ended up taking it, right?
I did a Dunkin' Donuts commercial in my car on my phone
Wow.
while my wife is going out to the supermarket to Spinneys and come back. So she left the car. I did the commercial. She came back. She sent it across over WhatsApp.
That's multitasking
that's a
at its
professional,
finest.
man.
And I'm not joking. Less than an hour later, it was on air. The guys
Wow.
needed it very quickly, and they needed something. And I had done the session before, but they changed it. So
Wow.
it's like, it's up.
Yeah.
And because of right now, there's Adobe Podcast. So
Oh,
you
it's
take-
amazing. We haven't even talked about AI. Speaking of Adobe Podcast, guys, what do you think about the advent of AI? We had that episode on Chat GPT and artificial intelligence.
That's why I was telling you about 11
Exactly.
Labs.
So, okay. It's incredible, man.
It is unbelievable. I put in my voice. I put in 3 different samples.
Yeah.
One that was a professional read, so I was reading from a voiceover script.
Yeah.
One that was just me having a conversation, talking, going back and forth. And one that was specifically trailery, in a world kind of voice.
Yeah.
And you can actually control how realistic the voice is and how conversational it is. So if you go all the way down, if you make it as low as possible and make it as natural as possible, it adds noises like breathing, like stuff like that.
Makes it sound more human.
It tricked everyone.
So, guys, what do you think?
It's been nice working with you guys. Yeah,
This
we're
is-
done.
No,
I
but
think-
can I be
think
honest
we're
with you
safe
guys?
for the next 2 years.
I think so, but I got to be honest with you. The copywriting industry has been affected badly by the advent of artificial
I've been
intelligence.
able to pick up on that, man. Every time they send me a script, I'm like, "Is this ChatGPT?" I have an ad agency. I see copy every single day.
Oh
and
my
they send it to me. I'm
God.
like, "Please don't GPT the presentation. Please write it."
It's
So
no
you can-
longer.
you can tell the difference.
Nowadays, I can tell.
Oh, he can tell
It's
the
no
difference.
longer an industry secret now. It's no longer an industry secret. So it's creative. It's creative. You can tell it to be
But the
as
thing
creative
is,
as
if
you
this
want.
Tell it
job
how to
becomes
write.
Yeah.
obsolete, then
I don't think so. I think it's gonna be easier for people because text to speech has been around for a while,
Yeah.
and even like you can get a voice actor to do it for cheap off of Fiverr or whatever.
Yeah.
But people come to us for a reason.
That's true.
And I don't think
that
that's
is true, yeah.
where AI is gonna find some difficulty kind of mimicking that. And once it does, even if AI perfected it, our mistakes are what they're gonna want.
Absolutely. You see, the problem with AI, if you have a client and the client wants, first of all, to deal with a human. So there's that feedback. And then the client tells the voiceover actor who's a human, they tell them what they want. With an AI voice, it's difficult to convey with a message.
Right now,
But
yeah.
that's the thing.
That's what they want.
Because right now they're able to kind of edit little bits and pieces.
Right.
Yes.
So if we get to a point where they can take a word out of the voiceover
Yeah.
and edit it with upwards inflection or downwards or whatever,
Wow.
then we're in a little bit of trouble.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Wow.
But I still find it a little bit robotic, to be honest, even when you hear the voiceovers.
I have to send you 11 labs.
To
I pay for it.
To an
it's
untrained
good.
eye, I can tell, by the way, I can hear a voice. I can tell if it's an AI voice or not. But to the untrained eye, they can't tell. Some of them can't
Especially
tell.
with companies that they don't want to hire, like, let's say, expensive voiceover artists. That can work.
What we're doing, by the way, is trying to integrate that. So we were looking into a way to do that. And there's a way to do it is to kind of get a voice actor. And once the system is perfect enough, you get a voice actor in a specific voice and you train your AI model based off of that. And then you have a deal with the voice actor.
Right.
Whenever they use your voice,
That's
you get paid.
So when you
Because
look,
they're going to model them after
Guys,
us.
listen to this. This is an AI voice. I'm going to put this next to the microphone. A friend of ours, he's a YouTuber, a friend of ours. He used an AI voice. Let me just fast forward this. I want you to tell me if you can tell that this is an AI voice. I immediately knew. That's why I asked him, did you use an AI voice for this video?
And he said yes.
So, and then he said yes.
Oh, okay.
He said that he used, let me tell you the name. He used something called Murph.ai. So listen to the
Murph
voice.
is okay.
It's one of the most magnificent creatures in the planet.
Yeah, I can tell.
What do they eat? Where do they live? And what are the threats to them?
To them. That's where you can
Fully
tell.
grown sea turtles are herbivores and like to hang around coral reefs to scrape off seagrass and algae.
He's going like this.
We can tell.
Yeah.
'Cause we've been in this
but still,
industry.
to be honest, it's not bad.
It's
not
not
That's the thing,
bad.
that's
When
not
my
bad.
wife
Murph
heard
is
that,
nothing compared to 11.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
11
guys,
labs.
when my wife heard that, I asked her, "Can you tell me?"
She said no.
She thought it was a
It's
human.
normal.
She didn't even know.
Yeah.
So that's where we are now.
What scares me is to think about how fast it's growing. If we think the big scheme of like programming, right, and data. What was it in the 80s, right? Like 1 gigabyte on a computer was a lot.
Yes.
Now, and they had to like fly it on a plane to get it halfway across the world, right?
Now look,
So what? Okay, 40 years ago, almost 50 years ago, that's how far we've come. In the past year, how far AI has learned, right? So it's literally exponential.
It is.
So that's what scares me is like, okay, today we can tell.
You mean like how rampant and how fast
this is
thing can
exactly
go?
what I
Yeah,
think as well.
yeah.
I share the
Gross.
same thought. I share the same thought.
So
it's
maybe
it's gonna be better than this.
Try to play it for you
yeah,
a bit.
Oh,
maybe
okay.
it's not going to be like
censor it, I think.
now. Or maybe we're safe for now.
But
I think over the next 5 years, though,
5 years.
yeah, Chat GPT and AI is going to be growing very, very quickly.
Very fast.
There's an agency in China that fired their entire staff.
Oh my God.
And has one
It's
person
happening.
who does AI. No joke. It's a full-on agency. It's a big agency. When we heard of that, we have like 40 employees. We're like,
I think all of this is happening. It's true. Now, we might become unemployable in the future somehow, but I still think that the human element is what's necessary, even if AI
this
is
what I
good.
wanted to talk to you about.
Yeah.
I'm going to play a piece of audio here.
Go ahead.
You might want to
Make
censor it.
sure it's close to the mic.
Yeah, you're going to censor it eventually because I think there's curse words in this.
Okay. Some profanity.
Okay, all right, fine. Let's talk. I walked into the offices of Moore the other day, and guess what I saw? I saw a big, bald guy walking around, yelling jokes at people, and forcing them to laugh at gunpoint. threatening to make
Is that an
billboards out
AI?
of them on the John
That's
L. Deep
11
highway.
Labs.
Oh my god.
That's an AI.
See,
That's an AI.
Okay.
That's what
Are
I
you
said.
kidding
That's
me
what I'm
right
talking
now?
about.
Come on.
You
It's
control.
been nice knowing you.
Bro.
Yeah, exactly. That's
I
what
love
exactly
you
I said. It's been fun. It's been fun.
Thank you,
fun,
guys.
I got Coca-Cola
We
one
have
stick.
You control how realistic it's gonna sound.
Oh
and
my
it
God,
added
this is
the
Dude, no joke. This is literally
unbelievable,
AI.
man.
Oh my
This is
god.
11
Wow.
Labs. This is a script I wrote about
Adam,
my
the
company.
pauses are
They're walking
perfect.
into my office.
Wow. But guys, what do you think about AI systems that can emulate someone's voice?
This
you
is
give
one
them
of them, yeah.
That was your voice?
That was emulating one of my conversational voices. Yeah.
That is your voice.
Yeah.
So,
But
okay,
it
that
can
bit
get-
is
but
voice.
it can- but it
That's
can hit it harder. Like it can even hit it more accurately. Depends on what you feed it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay,
So it's
half
like a
of it-
hungry device. You should
Yeah.
feed it.
half of it I feel like is how fast it's growing, right? But the other half is what you also mentioned was the money. Because
Yeah.
people are looking to do things for cheap, right?
Or for free,
Yeah.
to be honest.
Great example is your Morgan Freeman voice.
Yeah.
Do you charge the same rate as Morgan Freeman?
Nope.
No.
Morgan Freeman
Why do
charges
people come to you?
Up to $1 million, I charge nothing.
Exact
like very small
same
amounts.
thing with AI.
Absolutely.
Right? Exact
Yeah.
same
And it can
thing.
copy.
And it's not like we can argue it because we do the exact same thing, right?
But the thing is, it is something that is nice, but it freaks me out at the same time. They can literally just steal your voice and maybe frame you for something. You never know.
Yeah.
That's the dangers of
Actually,
AI.
There's this. It's a scam happening recently. I've been seeing it all over the news. I
Right.
don't know if you've seen it.
Right.
Like they would call you and you would pick up the phone and you can hear, let's say, your mom on the other line.
Okay.
The way she talks, the way she breathes, the way everything is. You can hear your mom talking to you. It is scary. And she's like, I'm in trouble. Help me.
Send
Save
me money.
They've kidnapped me.
Yeah.
And then they take the phone from her and they're like, hey, if you want to see your mom again.
Right, and that's the thing. It doesn't take the whole conversation.
And in your mind, you're not going to go ahead and call your mom.
Absolutely
in
not.
these cases, if you're that scared and they
Because the
minute it's-
adrenaline is pumping.
Yeah,
and
then you
you're
start-
going to be like, I'll do whatever it takes. Let her go or whatever.
Right.
And it's been working on some people in the US. They've been doing that.
Yeah.
It's scary.
It's scary.
Right.
Guys, I'm so sorry. I think our time is up for today's episode, but what do you guys think? Can you give some advice to the people that are aspiring to become voiceover actors? Let's just wrap this up quickly. What do you guys think? Dylan.
Kind of what we were going to before, which is know that you're unique and you're not going to get every single job.
Yes.
And that's okay.
Yes.
Not everyone is perfect.
Perfect.
That's totally fine, but
Yes.
just keep at it because you
Right.
will find clients that will want you.
Okay.
And it just takes time.
Here's
Illy.
a little word of encouragement because I work also on the agency side and we own a studio and everything.
Cool.
Studios want more voices. That's something
Nice.
that people don't understand.
Right.
People think that they have enough voice actors. No, clients always want variety. They want to listen
They
to new
need more.
voices. I encourage other voice actors. I'm one of the more booked talents in here for the past couple of years, and it's been amazing. But I always encourage more talents to come in, more diversity, more voices, more kind of tones. So go for it. It's not.
Absolutely.
If you
That
like
is
it, if
so
you want to
true.
do this, go for it.
And it's cool that like we can sit next to each other and know that, yeah, he's my competition, but I don't look at it like that.
It's not a
because
competition
Yes.
even. It's like we're in the same industry. We look out for each other as much as we can.
Absolutely.
Right now we were talking about I was going to share with you all of the studios that I go to because this is how it should be.
Absolutely. Yes. Absolutely.
So yeah,
And the
that's
thing
for
is,
mine.
also as a voiceover artist, like, okay, I get to recognize his voice. Like, oh yeah, well, I heard your voice so and so from this commercial. So that by itself, it also creates a bond and a friendship. So
True, the
you don't-
camaraderie,
You don't
yeah.
have that jealousy or like envy. It's like
Absolutely.
you could say.
It's a beautiful industry to work in, guys.
It is.
Yeah.
I still think it has a good future. I don't think the future is bleak yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Until
still have a couple
AGI
of years.
arrives, like we talked in artificial general
Dude, that
intelligence, that
AI
everybody's.
took me off guard.
Well-
Until I get on the World Cup, I'm good.
World Cup is
you,
one of the
guys.
things probably that's going to be around for a while because you're
Yeah.
narrating live and you're going.
You need a guy. You need a
Anything,
guy.
yes.
You don't
Yeah.
need a bot to be narrating this thing. You need a guy.
Anything that is live is basically safe, for
Safe.
now.
for now.
For now.
I'm good.
But because
I'm
they
good.
have that
You
tech,
guys figure
Yes.
yourself out. I'm good.
you're
Absolutely.
safe. Yeah, I need to get into announcing.
Thank you so much, guys, for coming today. It was a pleasure having you on the show.
It was a blast having
Thank you, guys.
two
Thank
amazing
you.
juggernauts in the voiceover.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.
Thanks,
Have a
Steve.
nice day. Take care.
Thank
Thank you.